Hey, Raider Nation, how you guys doing? Happy New Year. If we haven't done a podcast in a while together, damn. But anywho, welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. I am your host, Phil Jones. Phil Robinson's here. We have so much to dive in. This organization looks like they're hitting a rocky road, and it's looking ugly. It's looking mighty ugly, and we're not going to sugarcoat this shit. We're going to get right to it. I'm just going to say this. The words that we're hearing about Nelson Aguilar, just calling out the team as in general, not as singling. Well, you know what? I think he was singling a few people out. If you do look at the situation, if you do look at what was going on in the locker room, and you saw on the playing field,
you got to read. You got to read in between the lines. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. Missed you guys. But I personally want to stop and get a moment of silence for the work done by Vic Tafur and Nelson Aguilar together.
Something that came to light has now arisen.
This is a good thing, and I'm going to tell you why. As ugly as it looks, as bad as it sounds, you cannot overcome your innermost struggles, the things that are truly holding you back, until you can look at them honestly and be honest with yourself. The Raiders have an accountability issue. They have an accountability issue with their coach. They have an accountability issue with their players. They have an accountability issue with their fans. They have an accountability issue with their general manager. And when you have all of these accountability issues down the chain, you got to look to the top and say they have an accountability issue with the owner as well. The owner, Mark Davis, is not demanding results in a way that is producing them. So whatever it is that he's doing that's allowing this particular product to continue to be put out on his brand new football field, he needs to stop and make an adjustment to, so that his coach, his front office can understand there is no more losing here. Losing is going to cost people jobs, your jobs, because we've switched players, we've rebuilt, we've torn down, we've sent future Hall of Famers to other teams to fit your need, your scheme, your system. And your players are coming out and telling their teammates they suck. You are selfish. You guys don't play for anybody but yourselves. And there is no accountability on this team. You guys quit. You've quit for the last couple weeks. And this is okay. This is acceptable to you. I've won a Super Bowl. This is not acceptable to me. This is not what winning franchises do. Winning teams do. Winning teams play for each other. These were the words of Nelson Aguilar, and I applaud this man.
Absolutely. But it's I'm looking at the comment section. We hear Arnett, even people in the fan base have said his name a couple of times, but it goes back to during the all season. They talk about we got to beat the virus. You got to beat COVID. This coaching staff, the medical staff, and the players are accountable for not following the rules and regulations. Every one of them have social media. Every one of them. And you look at it, what are each and every one of them doing if you go on their IG Live? They got people at their houses
living the best.
They're not even supposed to be having there.
Nope.
And you wonder why Abrams is on the COVID list. You wonder why Brown ended up on the COVID list. Drinking, bullshitting, where you should be wondering why the hell I'm on defense and we gave up 45 fucking points. Excuse my language. But the thing of it is, you weren't accountable for your actions for what you did on defense, what you did on offense. Every one of them did something and did not own up to their actions. And it wasn't just on defense. You saw early in the year on offense. You had the gala for Darren Waller. You had your offensive players. I think you had one defensive player there. But the thing of it is, you see them all walking in, not wearing masks. Mind you, people are dying from this. And I know everybody, we hear it day in and day out. You know, you got to take it serious. You got to wear a mask, blah, blah, blah. But the thing about it is, you're putting your teammates at risk. You're not following protocols that the league put down. Everybody's getting mad why the league was fining us and coming down heavy on us because everybody done put all their laundry out there on social media. So, and the other thing, John Gruden's blown up on TV, not having his mask on. Your quarterback walking into the gala, and this, but the funny thing is, Darren Waller literally was the only one wearing a mask during that gala. You go back and look at that. Your quarterback, your tight end, Jason Witt, I think
Renfro was there too.
Renfro wasn't wearing one either. It wasn't just him. But the thing of it is, to try to make an excuse about it, that was just outrageous. I don't get to take my wife out on dates. Come on, man.
Neither do I.
Neither do I. I ain't get a chance to take anybody out doing this. So my whole thing is, why should I feel pity for you? Amy Trask even hit on it like, you need to hit on accountability. This is not right. You guys should do better than this. And she was absolutely right. It started with that. When I looked at Jonathan Abrams always tending to pop up on the COVID list, you're wondering, like, what's going on with him? He's all around, folks. That, why are you around him? You know he just got on that COVID list. Why are you around him? Why are you all up on Trent Brown? Come on, dude. It is frustrating. It is frustrating.
Beyond frustrating.
This generation of younger players, they don't take shit serious.
Nope.
And they wonder why they were sitting at 6-3, and they end up going 8-8. I'm gonna let y'all get a chance to comment on this, because I want to see everybody's comments on this shit. Because real talk, this has gotten to the point where other fans have gotten frustrated to the point where
switching it up.
Do I really want to be a Raiders fan anymore? Now, I'm gonna be a Raiders fan till the day I die. But I'm talking about, there are other folks that are feeling that way now.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is not where it should be at right now. But you hear John Gruden talk about, well, I brought Jason Witten, I brought him in for the locker room for some leadership. So you mean you paid him for $4.5 million for leadership and 13 catches? Because clearly leadership wasn't being shown in this locker room right now.
Not at all.
For the tight end room, yeah. But for someone that's a Walter Payton Award, when you think he'll open his mouth and set the tone of leadership in the locker room. Matter of fact, I got the list of your captains. You had
Oh yes, got it.
I'll get to that, Phil. But you had what? Number 4 is your captain. You had Hudson. You had Eric Harris. You had Kwiatkowski, Kyle Wilbur. Who else am I missing?
That was pretty much it. At least who it was supposed to be. And Eric Harris, did you nominate Eric Harris for that?
But my whole thing is
no, huh?
My whole thing is this. Oh yeah, Malik Collins. Thank you, Midge. Thank you, bro. So you looking at someone that was being completely lazy on the D line this year, couldn't even get a sack. You're looking at one guy that was, well, with Eric Harris is a little interesting because he was trying to clean up some other guys' mistakes and it made him look stupid out there.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I kind of feel sorry a little bit for Eric Harris. He was more of the guy that should have been the, what do you call it? I'm just a sub package guy, backup guy. But, damn, he caught the scapegoat.
Yeah.
He caught the scapegoat. Eric Harris was, in a way, a scapegoat in this situation. It kind of sucks for him.
Yeah, it does.
He was trying, but guys weren't listening. Hence, I go back to Abrams and I go back to Arnett and what's that other annoying fool I couldn't stand?
Marcus Joyner?
Lawson.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
There seem to have been many.
Yes, and Nixon. So guys not paying attention when they had the Zoom meetings. See, the other thing is this. You had all these Zoom meetings going on. Guys are sitting in there and not paying attention. They're going off doing their own damn thing. They turn the camera off like how some of your kids might be doing in their Zoom classes while they're at home. Turn the camera off, doing something else, not listening to the teacher, and you wonder what's going on. Why is my child not doing well in this class? Well, he keeps turning off his camera, and he said he had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on some childish shit. And it's unacceptable. Grown-ass men BSing when you have team meetings, you got your team calls on Zoom conference and not paying attention.
Yep.
I'm getting paid to do this. That's all I got to do. Today, all I got to do is sit in. I can go in the weight room, get iced up, and then sit in the Zoom meeting, figuring out what the game plan is, and I'm getting paid. Everything's getting wired direct deposit for me, but I can't sit there and pay attention for about 30 minutes. Listen here, 30 minutes at best. I mean, Jesus Christ. And they wonder why they got their ass burnt within 19 seconds on the field of that Miami game. I would definitely go off exactly like Nelson Aguilar. But the fact of the matter is, Nelson Aguilar didn't come in to be a leader on this team. Nelson Aguilar came in. I was on a 1-year deal. Headed like, okay, I can help you guys out a lot. Why isn't the leaders on this team, the captains, not speaking up and really putting them in check? Why in the world is dad voice not really working? And the thing of this is, you have Daryl Worley coming out and saying, oh, this is a lie. Daryl Worley, you didn't even play that game because you were on the COVID list. So I don't want to hear what you had to say. The funny thing about it, when we go back, before this happened, Alec Ingold I think he did one of the podcasts and said, there was a problem. There's a little problem in the locker room going on.
With some commitment issues.
So if you got Ingold talking about there's some commitment issues in the locker room, what's going to lead down to the next thing and to the next thing? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, put 2 and 2 together. You're going to have a shit-stained problem.
Aguilar's problem went back all the way back to week 4. If you check the video, you'll see him yelling on the sidelines at people for giving up too easy on routes.
Right, like it's irritating. And I go back and think, oh, I'm gonna use my dad voice. All right. My dad voice gonna make sure you guys get in check. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all.
So let's talk about dad voice for a second, and let's approach it a slightly different way than we usually normally come at this situation. Derek Carr's been the starting quarterback for 7 years. This is his team. He's gotten to the playoffs one time, and since 2016, this has been a near absolute disaster every single year, except for a 7-9 and an 8-8 finish. Leaders lead by example and take over and get their team, their flock to follow in line. And in 7 years, we have seen the exact same thing over and over again. We've called out the team for the exact same things over and over again, and nothing ever seems to change. You change the coaches, you change the players, the quarterback has been the constant. For whatever reason, he cannot get these guys to perform on Sunday at their highest level, or even approach or get to practice every day and take this shit serious. He can be the greatest player of all, but not the leader that this team needs. And right now, that's exactly what it's looking like. We have got to get somebody in here who's holding guys accountable and not letting this shit ride. Because this team will never, ever be any better than it is right now until the young guys completely buy in, get with the fucking program, and act like some fucking professionals.
Oh. Damn, Kevin, you said it best. He is a dud. But my whole thing is this. You listen to some of the stuff that John Gruden has said, and I'm going to be real, Phil. It sounds like a lot of bullshit.
An awful lot of it.
I mean, like, it's not good.
No.
It's a lot of stuff that he's been saying, and you're just like, you're supposed to be the John Gruden, Chucky, the one that had everybody all routed up, rah, and quarterback guru, man of many offenses.
All that shit.
All that shit, like you be at the bar and you tell like some legendary speech.
All that shit.
And here we go. Excuses. Page 2, verse 45 of Leviticus of excuses. We have this week's episode on excuses. Forget the show called Insecure. You got the show called Excuses with John Gruden. I mean, damn.
And you want to know what's funny? Said we're gonna throw everybody for a complete 180, and I'm gonna quote the book of Carr, one Darren Carr, Coach Darren Carr, BCHS state champion, high school football coach Darren Carr.
This is wrong.
You are either coaching it or allowing it to happen. #truth. And you know what? Darren is right. And with all this bullshit that you see going on, these excuses, we go from no excuses to I'm not going to make any excuses. But like you talk about young guys who are not paying attention. You talk about guys who are not doing what they're supposed to do with the COVID. That is a coaching issue.
Yeah.
The head coach of this football team, John Gruden, is supposed to be in control of this, on top of this, not allowing this to happen. And we can all sit here and say make every excuse in the world. We could blame the players, rightfully so. But these players were brought in by John Gruden and Mike Mayock. All these guys they're having issues with, all these high character football minds and players aren't producing on the field because they can't pay attention in practice, can't show up on time for practice, can't show up for work without calling.
Well, I mean, you know how the old school way goes, ladies and gentlemen. If you played any kind of sport, whether it's basketball, baseball, hockey, football, etc., if you late, do you think you're gonna, I don't know, be rewarded with playing? Do you think that's fair for the next person? Like, I'm busting my ass off and this guy come in to work late. That's a problem.
Like, your job is to play football. Millions of people would kill to switch places with you to come and play football and make millions.
I mean, Phil, like, even college football.
Yeah.
Like, you get punished. Like, oh, he was late for team meeting. He was late for practice.
You run it.
He didn't show up, and we found out he was doing some other shit. Your ass is not playing, or you're not playing that first half of the game.
That first half of the game
snaps away from you.
And if you do it repeatedly, you won't be on the team.
So, would I be mad at Gruden for doing that? No. Because, if you're really thinking about it, I have a rookie. I need to use some. Maybe I should use some of the stuff that college football teams use. So he's remember, like, oh, you know what? This shit happened such and such back when I was in college. I need to get this shit back together.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of it is, Gruden's going to have to stop being buddy. He's not consistent. If you're gonna lay your hand, if you're gonna drop the hammer down on somebody, drop it down and make it. It said, let it be known. You do this, you're gone. If we consider that you suck, if you sucked,
you're gone.
You did not put 100% effort out there.
You're gone.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
At all.
No more.
Never.
I mean, because that right there, it's wild because you know what? You go back and you look at how teams jumped into free agency. You look at how the Raiders jumped right into free agency. You didn't get a chance to see any of these players come in. I think the only guy they really got the chance to see was Mariota. But, Kiwakowski, I can't say nothing bad about him because when Kiwakowski came out there, he came out there to play hard-nosed. He was trying to take care of business as best as possible. He had an injury with that pectoral, and, he got COVID. It sucked. Yeah. And then Corey Littleton, those two, you saw he wasn't meshing with what Gunther was throwing out there. And then when Marinelli had him out there, it's a whole different story. So I can't really come at those two right now. I'm going to put an asterisk right next to the name because I saw better effort out of Littleton when Marinelli took over.
Better result.
Yeah. So you had those two, but your rookies, you only got 7 games out of Arnett. Tanner Muse, Jesus Christ, where were you?
Ooh.
Like Scooby-Dooby, mother, where are you? Where are you? Tanner Muse, where are you? This man fell off the face of the earth and was it was a decent round pick. But the thing of it is, I go back and look at what Mayock, he spoke to I think it was during the Senior Bowl. You're trying to have these position changes. You're trying to switch a guy that played safety to linebacker. And this what got me with Lynn Bowden. You tried to switch him from wide receiver to running back.
And then got mad at him for not being able to.
My whole thing is this. That falls on you. That falls on this coaching staff. That falls on Mike Mayock. So do I call Tanner Muse a horrible draft pick? No.
I will.
I'm not. I can't say nothing until I see him.
I will.
If I see him in a preseason game coming up this year, then I'd be like, I'm throwing everything. I'm throwing a what's that gift you be throwing out there with my man with the brick? The Bollywood movie, my man throwing the brick like So that's the whole thing. I'm not gonna jump to that conclusion, because I've seen cats back in the day where you thought they were going to be a horrible pick, and they end up turning out to be better than what we expected. I think Tanner Muse, maybe you move him back to safety. Maybe you move him back to safety.
I mean, we thought that Isaiah Simmons was going to be a can't miss prospect. Oh, and that was supposed to be the better of the two safeties, and he was terrible, and Muse never played.
Like, I think I think Gus Bradley might move him back to safety. If he's fine at safe, if he can play that linebacker safety kind of role, okay. If it's decent, okay. But if it's looking subpar, slander right away. Y'all can throw bricks, throw tomatoes. I don't care. You slander right away. But I can't come at somebody that's been out completely, But I look at what Gus Bradley, we're getting to that point now where we want to talk about Gus Bradley. You look at what he did with the Chargers defense. And the Chargers, when they had talent, they're top 5 defense. Top 10 defense. When they didn't have talent, guys out, injured, COVID and whatnot, for the last 2 years, they still stayed top 10 or top 15. And I'm going to be real here. You have a coach and Gus Bradley that can teach these young guys. Because we have a young defense, ladies and gentlemen.
Young.
He can come in, teach them, guide them in the correct manner, put them in the position to succeed. These guys do have speed
and talent,
but they need to be able to comprehend the plays. And that's been the problem. You go back and listen to Will Compton. You trying to comprehend all them damn plays that Paul Gunther's trying to throw at you, bro, you're going to be looking dumb as shit.
As confused as he was.
I look at the linebacker coach. I look at the DB coach that we brought in, and they've been impressive. And they're hard-nosed. They're going to break their foot off in these young guys' asses. And that's what they need.
They need some guys who will be able to tell them, I've done more in this league than you have. So maybe you need to be listening to me.
Real talk. Gus Bradley can come up and bitch slap him like, you see this? You see the ring? This is a Super Bowl ring.
That's right.
Legion of Boom, bitch.
Legion of Boom. One of the best defenses of all time. That's me.
Kiss the ring, bitch. Unity. Y'all want unity so bad. Hit him with the unity.
Right. Just tap him one time.
But, there's always some folks that are going to say, well, Gus Bradley, when he first started with the Seahawks, let's be real. That was when they had when they first started, that was like when they had Tapupu. What was my man? What was my man that was one of the linebackers? Like that was like when you looked at that, I was like, hold up. Wait a minute, y'all bend but don't break at that time. And then they started adding different pieces. You had a better front office. You had better coordinators go with Gus Bradley. And then you look at it, you're like, damn, this defense looks good. Now, people want to jump and say, well, Gus Bradley, when he was with the Jaguars, he was terrible. You can be a bad coach, bad head coach. But you can be the greatest
DC
there ever lived.
Wade Phillips.
The thing about it, you're juggling. You're trying to balance more. Usually, you've been a coordinator for so long. If you're so used to, I'm just used to handling this group. You're trying to get adjusted, trying to handle. You got to deal with offense. You got to deal with special teams now. You got to deal with all this other extra shit. Where you were used to sitting in your office, had your players there for the defense, and that's it.
That was it.
When you look at that, that's when they were dominating. But when they were head coaches, nah. But it did turn. And what was wild, it kind of turned around a little bit with the defense his last year because he had the draft picks. He ended up getting key defensive pieces. But when he went to the Chargers, and he had his input on, well, let's go and grab him. Let's go on and grab Derwin James. Let's go on and grab this guy. What was the DB that they had? King.
Hey, Desmond King.
Desmond King didn't pan out. He said, hit the road, bro.
Yeah. Kick rocks, bitch.
So my whole thing is this. Gus Bradley ain't going to take no shit over anybody. He's not going to play no favoritism like Paul Gunther did with some guys. That's not going to happen. When y'all thought LaMarcus Joyner was going to stay in the slot, ladies and gentlemen, that ain't going to happen no more.
Nope. He may not be back next year.
To be honest, we need money. I look at that salary cap, and that salary cap is looking hella ugly. Wow. We're probably on a situation where you need to factor in, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have about $175 million for the salary cap going forward for everybody, but with us being $20 million over the cap. So there's going to be some contracts being cut.
Yep.
Some guys that need to be let go. Now, I know a lot of people want to say, well, let's go and let go of Trent Brown. That IV shit, bro, I'm going to be real. You're not going to let him go because you do not feel like dealing with a damn lawsuit. You need to get his big behind motivated. You need to light a fire under his behind and get him to trim down about 15, 25 pounds.
And get him to love football again and be okay with seeing the strippers after the season is over.
But I'm going to be real. I think, like I said, we go back to COVID. I think COVID played a heavy situation in his decision-making coming into that 2020 season. I think that really played a part with a good amount of guys. I'm not going to say everybody. I'm not making an excuse like John, but COVID, that kind of freaked out some guys. If you're a big guy that's offensive lineman, it kind of freaks some of them guys out through the league. But other than that, everybody said, if you come into play, you come into play. You made that decision. You could have opted out.
Yep.
If you didn't opt out, you knew what you were going into.
Yeah,
well, don't you dare call me John Gruden.
You excuse excuses.
Shit, they coming for me.
They said you got assholes just like everybody else.
Nah, but what Nelson Aguilar, we go back. Nelson Aguilar said what he needed to say.
He said what needed to be heard.
You guys suck.
Not bad. Not terrible.
This what gets me with this, bro. Y'all were happy over 8-8.
That's the mentality that has to change. That is the mentality that has. They were probably happy that they were 8-8 with guys quitting on the team. They were probably ecstatic that they were able to keep it to 8, get 8 wins with guys who didn't want to be there for a full 16 games.
So check this out. I'm gonna hit y'all with something. Y'all, I don't know if some of you guys heard it, but you guys need to hear it because I keep hearing everybody saying it's the defense. Well, guess what? One of the best tight ends said it wasn't just the defense. The offense, what we've been trying to tell you. It ain't always sunny in Las Vegas. Y'all listen to it's a 1-minute interview with I clipped off from First Take with Stephen A. and Max and Darren Waller. And Darren Waller basically said it. So y'all listen in.
What the hell happened to y'all, man? Y'all were 6-4. Y'all looked like y'all were en route to go into the playoffs, and then y'all ended up 2-4 over your last 6 games. Finished as a 500 team. What happened? What happened to the Las Vegas Raiders?
When you look back over the last 2 years, like a similar trend happened. So I would probably say that goes into attention to detail as we go down through the season. Got the small things are what separate those games that we lose, and you can go by and cruise by off energy and enthusiasm and things like that early in the season. But when it gets tough in the later half and it gets cold and the road gets tougher, we got to be on top of the details and come to work with that same level of energy, even an increased energy, to be a championship team and be considered in those playoff games. So, things like that got to change. We got to step up our ball security on offense. Can't be turning the ball over or falling short in the red zone. These are things that we have to fix in order to get where we want to go.
Ball security and scoring in the red zone. Ladies and gentlemen, the Raiders in the red zone last year, I love keeping receipts. I think I blame Josh. Y'all said it did. It doesn't matter, Josh.
Oh, yes, it does.
It does matter.
Yes, it does.
And Josh was like,
let me tell you why. As we talk about turnovers, Carr was ranked 19th in passer rating over the final 6 weeks of the season, which was that same 2-4 stretch Stephen A. Smith was just talking about, really? and led the NFL with 9 turnovers in that span. The overall production dropped, and he led the league in turnovers.
Here, I make this, and we jump to the red zone. 2018, you were ranked 20th. 2019, ranked 16th. 2020, you were ranked 19th. How the hell in the red zone you dropped down to 19th where you were just 16th? You're supposed to be looking up, not down. So when we talk about the team, all you can do is look up. All you can do is go up. They did not go up. They went down. That second half, like Darren Waller said, was horrendous. This is facts. Y'all want the numbers. You want the truth. And that's all I am here to speak.
All we going to give you is the truth.
I'm not done. Because this doesn't make any sense. You went from 6th, you were 16th and go from 19th?
With a better team.
I put that on Gruden. I put that on Carr because the ball is in your hands.
Every play.
We hear kill, kill, kill. You can audible out of that. If John Gruden gave you feel like the play that John Gruden gave you is not good.
I've heard he has near autonomy at the line of scrimmage, so that would lead one to believe that the plays that you see them running at the line of scrimmage, whether they were the ones that Gruden called or not, ultimately are his decision.
Cindy Gruden tapioca.
You got all of these creative names for the plays. Maybe you should spend a little bit more energy on the play itself instead of what you call it. Because when you're getting into the red zone with all of these weapons that you're supposed to have, you never ran a jet sweep with Henry Ruggs inside the red zone. I didn't understand that at all. You look
at Aguilar.
You won to Aguilar, and I don't did he scored one time.
No, he didn't score.
No, he didn't score.
He got stopped.
Yeah, so he didn't score.
Speed.
No.
Like, he's fast, but he said zero movement. You killing me, bro. She ain't
on your helmet today.
No, but the proof is in the pudding, as they always said. But just going down the list, and I mean, like, Josh just lays it out here. He just lays out all the gifts of saying, here, it's not just that. Let's read it. As Josh Dubrow put it, Carr ranked 19th in passing rating over the final 6 weeks last season and led the NFL with 9 turnovers in that span. Raiders also were 28th in yards carry and 26th in yards rushing game. So that's on both. I'm just repeating what you said. I know you said it, but I'm just like, let's see. The offense scored 17 or less than 7 times in 2019, and Raiders didn't lose once when scoring more than 24. So the issues were more than defense.
4 times total, the Raiders have lost a game after Derek had led a scoring drive that would have led to a fourth quarter comeback. That was touchdowns against the Chargers in 2017, the Chiefs in 2020, and field goals versus the Bears in 2015 and the Dolphins in 2020. So the defense is not blowing all of these games like you think they have. That's literally one, that was 2 in 2020, 1 in 2015, and 1 in 2017. For a defense that takes as much shit as they do about being terrible, that's not exactly horrific in terms of giving up leads. It's real ugly when you see it. Nobody wants to see it. It shouldn't happen. But these guys in the league get paid, and it does happen.
Yeah.
But this happens with far less regularity than everybody wants to assume that it does. This defense is talented. The scheme didn't work for them. They have a true leadership issue, and somebody has got to get these young kids under control and get them to be professionals, or get professionals in the building and not be married to a scheme so that you can't get better players. all of that is going to change under Gus Bradley.
Oh, this is a classic one right here. I caught this one. I was like, wow. Raiders allowed 88 points off turnovers this season, tied for 5th most. Don't have an easy breakdown of how many off Carrs and how many off others, but the 3 defensive touchdowns were scored off of 2 interceptions and a Carr fumble in the end zone. So it's not. So what we're getting at is this: it's not just.
That's now 67 points.
It's coming from your offense still too.
67 points off the turnovers. So I would imagine that brings them down considerably.
A lot of that is coming from both sides. It's coming from both sides where you have that problem. And then you lose, and here's the thing: you lose an easy game.
Have been for years. to teams that didn't belong on the same field as you, weren't nowhere near as talented, had all these guys out, nobody on offense, and then you go out, leave the defense hanging for a half, and when they finally give up and the offense continues not to score, we point the finger at the defense and say, they're the bad guys. They're the problem.
So when you hear defense, y'all effing up, blah, 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 maybe if you didn't bullshit in that Patriots game, maybe if you didn't bullshit in the Bills game, or, maybe if you didn't step the fuck up in that damn Bucks game. And the Falcons game. I could have understood, and it's accountability. And you hear everybody thinking that it's all on defense. It's also on offense. And this is where you go back and you hear this huge talk of accountability for Mayock. There's an accountability problem in this organization. You hear him from Vic's article talking about this. You hear him from Nelson Aguilar coming out and saying, you guys suck. Nobody wants to take accountability. The only two guys that you hear denying this shit are no longer on the team. I wonder why. One could only get 2 games in, and the other couldn't even be on the active roster and get a catch going his way. So when I'm starting to hear everybody saying, well, I heard Hondo today say that, well, this actually did happen. You hear him, Vince
Bonsignor.
He came out and said the same thing. And that came out. Deshaun came out and said it. So everybody's saying it. So
it happened. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I'm going to basically say it like this. You got called out by someone that hasn't been on the team longer than you. Well, really, you got your ass called out by somebody in the heat of the moment, and you don't want to own up to it because they put you all on blast. It wasn't like your coach putting you on blast. It's a player putting you on blast. It's not even your captain. You're going to feel a certain way. You're not going to want to own up to it. Let's be real. Come on. A lot of guys wouldn't really want to own up to that.
And that's the problem. Nobody wants to own up to anything.
That's
a huge problem. Guys don't want to own up to it. Coaches isn't making it happen, isn't making them own up to it. And the owner is continuing to let excuses run his football team.
And part of that, I feel like, you go back and listen to what Mark Davis said, that he wasn't going to be at the home games this year. He wasn't going to be around that much this year due to the fans not being around. I get your love and your passion, but I think that Mark should have been around the entire season. And you are the owner. You need to be around. You need to make sure things are running smoothly. Because clearly you came down and was like, I need Gunther gone. You came down for that. But in reality, I think you should have been around for everything else. I think that's going to change this year. Fans are so far looking like they will be able to be in the stadium this year. But the thing of it is, a lot of folks are at a point where, do I really want to go to a game this year? Are we going to be settling for subpar 8-8? Well, there are 17 games this year. So are we going to go 9-8? Or the Raiders going to go 10-7? Who knows?
Or backslide, for that matter.
Or you go 8-9.
7-10.
That's a bad taste in the mouth.
But pull up what old Kev said. Mark Davis has in fact started making his presence felt and been much more hands-on. As you said, he was there for the Gus Bradley interview. I forgot who put this tweet out. The Raiders are going to be the second most expensive professional football team ticket in America. They are in Vegas, where the house always wins, and they are producing subpar ball with accountability issues. There is no way that Mark Davis is going to be able to continue to make money with the product that he's putting on and the prices that he's charging people to come see this.
Well, and see, that's why I think he went and just made that move and bought the Aces. I think that played a little part where it could help him out in the pockets. But I'm sorry. You go back, you look at how the season finished. This was a disgusting taste. It was commitment to mediocrity. You got like I said, you got folks celebrating like, oh, we went 8-8. 8-8.
That's football purgatory. That's not a good thing. That is the worst place to be in the league. Because when you're 8-8, you think, okay, maybe we just need a little bit more. You tend to keep guys that you need to let go of.
Yes.
That's the problem with 8-8. If you're not coming from super bad to where 8-8 was a 4 or 5 game improvement, 8-8 is the worst spot you want to be. Last year we were 7-9. A 1 game improvement with all of the hype that was supposed to be around this, all of the hype that was delivering early, and this massive collapse once again down the same stretch of games, down the same easy stretch of schedule. You have major problems in your organization with what you are allowing to happen on the football field, on the practice field, and in your organization.
I'm glad you said that.
Him and Ole and Johnny Mo, they do such a great job of pushing me. So I'm thankful for them, and we're getting better as a team. The record improved this year, even if it improves by 1. Mm-hmm. Let's continue to improve, and let's get in the playoffs next year.
Well, thank you very much, Derek. We appreciate it.
Improved by 1 game. But we're going to get better next year, and we're going to go to the playoffs.
I wish that I could throw a brick at your head right now. I would do it.
You want to hear one more time?
How dare you? How dare you interrupt me with that mediocrity, with that commitment to playing my best football possible? I went out there and did all that I could do.
I'll play it one more time for you.
The team, the record improved this year, even if it improves by 1. Mm-hmm. Let's continue to improve, and
the record improved by 1. Okay, even if it is by one game.
Playoffs next year.
Well, thank you very much, Derek.
Playoffs next year. How many times have I heard that? How many times have I heard that? I've heard it all before, man.
6 times. Excuse me, you've heard it 5 times.
Don't worry, we'll be back. We're going to be back. We're going to get this. And I'm gonna drop this because it's never gonna end. This is mediocrity right here. You sound satisfied with 1 win. I would have been real straightforward. We got 1 win. We got to do better than what this was. We collapsed in the end. I wouldn't have put on a big smile, happy face. I would have been real, kept it 100. That's Mamba mentality. Everybody's saying, man, it's about putting all the stats up and going for this and that. No.
No, it's about winning.
You win it by any means necessary.
Win. Just win.
Even that means you got to carry your team
On your back and take everybody for a ride like the great ones do. That's the Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality shows up at practice and doesn't allow guys to not show up, do what they're supposed to, or give their all to the team at practice.
Because I feel like some of y'all need to understand the definition of Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality doesn't let the number 12 pick in the draft show up to practice late 14 times.
Hold up. Before we go into anything else on that, because I'm going to call Mayock on this. Mayock actually said that they expected they were going to get this out of Henry Ruggs. So you expected your 12th overall pick to only put up about 400 yards and what?
5 touchdowns and 25 catches. 28, I believe.
28 catches, 400 and some yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that means you expected him to get that. Then why didn't you get CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson? Why didn't you get Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah, all of them. All of them. You needed speed that badly, and then once you got it, didn't know what to do with it.
Phil, you bragging up. You on that busted up internet. I told you about that shit again.
I have my computer checked is what I need to do.
Yeah, man. You better leave that Pornhub alone.
Shit. But no, they should have.
Jamaican Wi-Fi. But no, my whole thing is, and it caught me off guard. I meant to add that in earlier, but you expected this from your 12th overall pick. You expected to only see about 28 catches and 400 some yards and 2 touchdowns. Are you serious? I could have, like I said, we could have had Jeudy, Lamb, or Jefferson. They all have speed. So my whole thing is somebody's full of shit again.
Not making a very good case for himself, especially when you're talking about you. This was the guy you picked at 12. Like, what the hell are you doing? Abram at 27, you look at what you're getting with that. It's a joke. You were supposed to, Mayock is supposed to be the draft guy, the king of the draft, the ultimate scout, super scout. Nobody got all the terminology, all the years of experience on TV. When he finally gets a chance to draft his own guys, the high character distinction is what's preventing him from getting football players. Football is a game. On defense, you need grimy dudes to do grimy things to play grimy defense. You can't find that with high character guys.
Here we go. Here we go. I gotta bring this up right here. And that's how I end it. Where this shit at?
Who's there yelling in the background?
Somebody getting their ass whooped.
Oh. Okay.
Somebody had to channel the Mamba mentality. But we talk about Mamba mentality, but it's about playing without fear, mastering your craft, and wanting not only to win, but to dominate. I saw none of that shit.
None of that. Not dominate.
You said, get the switch. Oh man, but
need to get the switch for this whole team. You're right about that. Maybe that'll get them to act right and play and do what they're supposed to do because nothing else has.
man, I tell you, bro, real talk. I do miss Brinson Buckner.
Yeah,
I miss him to the core because he will call you out. He said, "I love you,"
but some of y'all football suck.
Some of y'all suck.
And you are a habitual fat person. You every time I see you, you always eating.
That shit, oh man. That was some good stuff.
That was the truth, the hard-hitting facts.
A habitual fat person. God, when I heard that shit, I was like, damn.
Hey, I mean, you got to fight after that.
Hey, bro, you know if you fat, you hear that, you know you got to step up and be like,
listen,
you got to lose the weight, you got to throw down and fight.
Yeah, you got to renew your dedication to the gym immediately. Like throw whatever's in your hand down and go pick up a weight.
I told you about that damn Jamaican wildfire boy, but like. And I go, we're gonna go. I just go back and just think about what I just played earlier with Darren Waller. This is the same thing that happened last year. Last year, you had Josh Jacobs come out and say something during the Jets game. This year, you had Nelson Aguilar come out and say something at the end of that Dolphins game. You see the trend here? That's a problem. When you're constantly getting called out because you're not doing your job, that's a problem. And from John Gruden, you need to figure this shit out. Now, granted, I'm glad he let Gus Bradley get the folks that he needed, and he didn't really have his hand in it, which is great, because that's showing that there's a little bit of change right there, because John Gruden always liked to dip his hand on something like, well, you know, I like this guy, and I think you should have that guy. That didn't happen this time, because surprisingly, Mark Davis was there, and Mark Davis was like, fuck no. Y'all bitching and complaining about the defense. You know what? Let him get what he needs.
Fix it.
Raiders have a lot of things to fix. They don't need more weapons on offense. They need to figure out what the fuck is wrong with themselves. And if they can't figure that out, if you feel that they're not cutting it, you need to get rid of that ass.
Cut it.
Offense and defense.
And as much as you like Derek Carr and his football intelligence, your quarterback cannot be leading the league in turnovers down the second half of the season.
That's a problem.
That is without a doubt all of the reasoning that you should need to get rid of him. Because as good as he can be, this isn't a once in a career thing. This is consistently what he does. Through the back section, the back half of games, the turnovers start flowing.
Like my whole thing was this past year, you look good the first half, and then you went into mush in the second half. And that's why I got pissed. You talking about Mamba mentality, motherfucker. I'm finding a way to win the game. I'm finding a way to do this and dominate. I saw none of that. Most likely the Raiders are going to stick with him this year. Let his contract play out. Or, you know, the Raiders try to go big and go crazy. But I doubt we see that, because when you have folks in your front office and your coaching staff that can't handle accountability, what makes you think they're going to try and make a big, bold move? And looking at this draft right here, and I was listening to what Bradley was saying. Bradley thinks the guys that he already has right there on this defense, he can do something with them already. So if you're hearing that, that should tell you maybe the Raiders don't need to go crazy in the draft. Maybe they can grab somebody up in free agency, 2 players in free agency, and maybe 1 player or 2 players in the draft. But I'm going to be real. I'm looking at this draft. It is not impressive. If you're looking for another corner, man, you better go get a bottle of tequila.
Yeah, not in this draft.
It's going to be depressing to watch. If I look at any lineman, I'm looking at Twyman from out of Pitt. Yes, Melvin Ingram, I would love to bring him in. Michael Davis, yeah, I would love to bring him in as well. But other than that, anything else to this draft, I'm probably looking at maybe you try to find an edge rusher. You try to find another D lineman. But other than that, if I do get a linebacker, I'm going with Surratt from North Carolina. He's consistent. And a linebacker that had converted, a quarterback that converted to linebacker, he's got a better read on the field. So I look at that. I look at that skill set. If I do look at anybody Alabama, Barmore as well, I will look at that. But other than that, I'm just not impressed with 100% of everybody. I feel like a handful of these guys may need to go back before the combine even starts. So, Phil, you got anything to add on?
No, I think we pretty much covered it up. Addressing all of these little issues that we see, giving these folks the unfiltered truth to let them know what's truly going on, and take off the little sunshine glasses with the confetti and rainbows for an 8-8 season. The truth of the matter is this: is that the Raiders have to start the accountability at the top. Davis has got to let it be known that losing is going to cost people their jobs. He made it. He sent his first warning shot with Paul Gunther. Mayock has come out and said that he's been ineffective in the job that he's done. He may not have said it in those exact words, but when you take into account what was actually said, yes, he said that he was ineffective in the job that he's been doing because the guys that he's brought in have not amounted to very much.
Right.
And he's telling the truth because they have not. Can they be better? Yes, they have the raw skills, but they got to get their heads out of their asses and into the playbook and into the Zoom meetings so that they can learn the intricate details, because professionals don't play off physical ability alone.
No, that's true. Other than that, that's all I got. That's all Phil got. Remember, you guys can subscribe to our YouTube page, The Unfiltered Truth. You can recap this show, recap any episodes you missed during the season. Looks like we're going to get back into a role because a lot of things are becoming exposed. So other than that, I'm Phil Jones. That's Phil Robinson. Follow me on Twitter at Phil Jones NFL. Follow him at Phil Robinson III on Twitter. I'm going to catch this real quick. I think a better eval can be done after a true off-season program. Now, that is absolutely true. With the way things went this past season, I think that can actually happen. But
that'll work for your second-year players, but your rookies coming in are going to do terrible evaluations.
Absolutely. Well, other than that, y'all take care. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. wear a mask, and if you're on the East Coast, be prepared for some snowstorms coming. I'm Phil Jones. Phil Robinson. We're out.
This is the Unfiltered Truth.